Hey everybody, Josh Sigurdson of World Alternative Media here, and there is chaos on the streets of Hong Kong right now, as you could see from Ray Chan here on Twitter. Massive crowds are protesting in Hong Kong right now. We are going to get into this and more in this video, but first make sure to hit the like button, share on social media because we are shadow banned, and check our links below. Join our new newsletter at www.iambanned.com, and more importantly than anything else, join us on Flote.app and BitChute so that we can get off of this ridiculous Chinese-style platform that censors anyone that dares have a different narrative from the establishment. We've been demonetized, but we will not shut up. Anyways, let's get into this news. As we have been pretty much anticipating for the last little while, there are massive protests in Hong Kong. And the reason for that we will go into right now, as this article from Zero Hedge says, Hong Kong erupts. Tear gas deployed as thousands fill streets to oppose China's national security law. And as the article goes into, after months of relative quiet amid the coronavirus pandemic, thousands of protesters flooded the streets of Hong Kong, defying the city's ban on gatherings to voice their opposition to a new national security law proposed by Beijing, which would threaten the city's autonomy and the civil liberties of its residents. Well, anything that China is trying to do is going to threaten the civil liberties of anyone in the vicinity. But as it continues down here, you could see this tweet from James Pomfret as he shows hundreds of charged at protest lines outside Sogo. Some protesters arrested. Hashtag Hong Kong protest. Hashtag Hong Kong. Look at that. Look at those goose steppers. So this is breaking news as I reported, but it has been anticipated. They were talking about the potential of massive riots in Hong Kong in the next couple of days, and here we are witnessing it right in front of us. There's more video. We're not going to go into all of the video here, but as it says, the protesters, most of whom could be seen donning masks, were hit with tear gas less than an hour after the start of the demonstrations, which resulted in at least 120 arrests, including 40 of which were people accused of blocking Gloucester Road. A water cannon truck was also deployed, according to SCMP. And as it continues down here, you can see people hit with tear gas. They're wearing their masks, and then that doesn't really help against the tear gas, but we're told it helps with coronavirus. Anyway, as it continues here, the first rounds of tear gas were fired around 1:30 p.m. local time outside a Causeway Bay shopping mall. 20 minutes later, the first arrest was made, according to the Epoch Times. And we could see more stuff there, more images there, more video there of the militarized police, and one guy reenacting Tiananmen Square there against what appears to be a police van. We have this tweet here from Eric Chung that says, this map circulated among Hong Kong protesters on Telegram shows police essentially surrounding Sogo where protesters are gathering. This comes as multiple rounds of tear gas were fired by police in Causeway Bay and Wan Chai just as the march was beginning. Continuing on, it says, Beijing unveiled details of the law on Friday, which would most likely grant the Chinese Communist Party security services jurisdiction over matters in Hong Kong, which drew condemnation from Taiwan, the United Kingdom, the EU, Australia, Canada, and the United States, according to the report. It also drew immediate protests from opposition lawmakers. Well, the other countries are attacking it all for face value. The world bows down to China these days. As it continues here, it says the national security law would bypass the city's legislature, which is expected to enact a ban on subversion, secession, and sedition against Beijing. It will also enable mainland Chinese national security agencies to operate on city soil for the first time. You could see here they're talking about people chanting, "You pass the law, we start the war." And carrying on, I wish they said that to every law. It says, on Sunday, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi said that Beijing must enact the law without delay and that it is the role of China's central government to enforce national security. And I quote, we must get it done without the slightest delay, said Wang, who added that the law would create more stability and confidence in the special administration region as well as better environment for security. those willing to give up a little bit of liberty for a little bit of temporary security deserve and will get neither. Shortly after the announcement, Hong Kong residents took to social media to organize a march on Hong Kong Island from Causeway Bay to Wan Chai at 1 p.m. local time on Sunday. Some protesters were chanting "Liberate Hong Kong, revolution of our times," while others chanted "Hong Kong independence, the only way out," according to CNN. Obviously, there has been a lot of ramping up of powers by China as they utilize the coronavirus pandemic that was created likely in 2 labs, Fort Detrick and in Wuhan at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. And has benefited the governments around the world dramatically, giving them unthinkable powers that no one, except for us, had ever seen coming. I mean, look, we have seen China ramp up their government, the size and scope of their government, for decades. As I've mentioned many times here at WHAM, Henry Kissinger meets with Mao Zedong, creating an alliance with China, which also gave them a huge monopoly on trade, which propped them up after they already killed 50 million people, propped them up as a bigger superpower, leading into the creation of the Trilateral Commission under Zbigniew Brzezinski during the Carter administration. As Zbigniew Brzezinski said, he dreamed of a world of technocracy. Well, we got that with China, and now countries around the world mimic China, bow down to China, do whatever they say, as China rises up as a new world superpower, as the U.S. suffers from the coronavirus outbreak alongside every other country in the world. China seems to have benefited greatly. I mean, the government in the U.S. has benefited greatly, and the Fed has benefited greatly in the U.S., but more so than that, China has benefited greatly because we are seeing the unrolling of technocracy worldwide, social credit most likely with contact tracers and vaccines, cashless society, and the utilization of Chinese-controlled or Chinese-style technocracy. And with most of the major social media sites bowing down to China, the World Health Organization bowing down to China, run by Tedros, one of the heads of the Ethiopian Communist Party, it's a perfect situation right now for a complete takeover by China. And now I don't pick one government over another. My point is that the U.S. has been working side by side with the Chinese government for many years, and I believe it was always a plan to create the new world order, being China, the Chinese world order, utilizing powers from Israel, from Britain, from Saudi Arabia, from the United States, etc. And I think we were witnessing that play out, and people in Hong Kong were rising up against the government, and then the government got bigger and more destructive, and people naturally want to be free, and people can only take so much economic devastation, so many lies before they start to stand up. And there's a lot of question about the future prevalence of a place like Hong Kong as a financial center, and I want to go into a few of these headlines anyway, at least. As it says, in latest escalation, President Trump blames China for mass worldwide killing, and you can see that on Twitter here. He says, some wacko in China just released a statement blaming everybody other than China for the virus, which has now killed hundreds of thousands of people. Please explain to this dope that it was the incompetence of China and nothing else that did this mass worldwide killing. I would disagree that it was just that. I mean, it was... Look at it this way. Bill Gates funds World Health Organization, which works with China. Bill Gates also funds, and by the way, he's made insane amounts of money off this pandemic. Bill Gates funds Dr. Fauci. Dr. Fauci was the head of his own Institute of Allergies and Infectious Diseases, which got the millions of dollars in U.S. government grants for the Wuhan Institute of Virology to study coronavirus in bats, which is 96% similar to the novel coronavirus, and utilizing that study to find a way to spread it to humans. So, I mean, what are the chances that that was just by accident, that just happened? The study wrapped up, I think, in October of 2019. I mean, it's a perfect situation for them to utilize that and get order out of chaos from that situation. And then we move forward to the massive government control worldwide, the global economic devastation, the rise of central banks, negative interest rates. I mean, massive poverty, dependence, people begging for help, contact tracers, people being told that they want to leave their house, they have to be traced everywhere. I mean, it wasn't just China's, buffoonery. It was a planned situation from the beginning. It was clearly a planned situation from the beginning, and most people are starting to get that, which it's really good to see the amount of people rising up, though asking the government for permission isn't as good as just taking that permission, giving yourself permission. As it says in this Zero Hedge article, China condemns grave U.S. interference in China's internal affairs, warns of consequences. We see here, stocks yuan tick lower as Senate passes bill that could force delisting of Chinese companies, which Again, the U.S. government just announced that if you manipulate stock markets, that makes you a terrorist. But the U.S. government is the MVP of manipulating stock markets alongside China, and they have no right to delist companies. People should be able to invest in whatever the hell they want to, as long as a company allows people to invest in them. Anyway, as this article out of Zero Hedge says, Rabobank, how does Hong Kong continue to function as a financial center? And, there's a lot of uncertainty about how this will continue to, how we will continue to see the amount of prevalence out of Hong Kong that we've seen over the many years as a financial center. A lot of these financial centers are about to be wiped out. We're seeing that in Frankfurt, Germany as well, with Deutsche Bank and Commerzbank. And I've been to their headquarters there. They've been falling since 2001. Many of these major financial centers are collapsing, but it's only going to lead to a rise of a new financial center or different financial centers. The IMF talked years ago about how they wanted to base their headquarters in Beijing, and I believe that's exactly the direction that we're facing here. There's too much free market action happening in Hong Kong, despite a lot of restrictions. There's too much free market, business happening in Hong Kong. The government needs control of everything. It's called fascio-communism, and we're seeing the circular spectrum. It's not left or right. It's a circular spectrum meet full circle. Fascism and communism. And we're seeing it worldwide. We're seeing Australia implement a lot of the technocracy. We're seeing the US, Canada, Britain, elsewhere enforce the technocracy, utilizing facial recognition, social credit, that kind of thing. You can't speak on social media, which has become the identity of so many anymore, without being censored. We were told here at WHAM that if we dared to continue to talk about the coronavirus in the way we did and not follow the World Health Organization's recommendations, that we would be demonetized. But we don't negotiate with terrorists, and terrorists spread ideology via fear. I don't negotiate with terrorists, so we got demonetized. And here we are today talking about this situation. We will continue to talk about what's happening in Hong Kong. It's very interesting to see people rise up more. We're seeing people rise up in Wuhan. I don't know if they're going to be able to get away with this power grab all the way to the end point. I am somewhat optimistic about it. However, right now what I'm seeing is they've still managed to keep people inside their homes. When we're looking at, they said originally 3.5% to 7% death rate for coronavirus, which is clearly made in a lab and spread as a bioweapon by China and the US. They said that it would be about that statistic, but it ended up being 0.08% to 0.2%, which the seasonal flu is around 0.1%. So we've been lied to, and people are still taking it. People are still being manipulated to the point where they bow down and take the knee over this and force themselves into their kennel and wear stupid masks that don't actually work and all this kind of stuff. It's absolutely ridiculous. We're not allowed to talk about this on YouTube, so we'll hope for the best there. They're told to stay in their homes, not get a good immune system, which is crucial to fighting a virus, not get vitamin D, get pale as hell, become the mark of the slave, being a pawn to sacrifice for the king and the queen. That's always been the way it is. They'll utilize war in this situation as well. And now with the lockdowns in China of over 100 million more people, they say second wave. What we're going to see is they're going to open it up, and now they're going to say, oh, suddenly we have a second wave somewhere around the fall. We need to lock down again, economically devastate people more, force people into starvation more, force vaccinate people, say, look, see, you're selfish for wanting to feed your family. Now you must listen to the government, and now we're going to be even more restrictive. They're going to say it's going to affect kids, and we're already seeing them talk about that in Britain, and it's only going to get worse from there, and then we need to stand up even more than we have been and really call this fraud out. I don't know if they're going to be successful long term. I don't think they're going to be able to force vaccinate everyone. 1 in 4 people in the US, which is so many millions of people, say they refuse to be vaccinated. We are witnessing somewhat of a civil war. This is a civil war, but it's people versus the global government at this point. So we'll see how that turns out. But China is definitely at the center of that power structure alongside the US, Israel, Britain, other countries around the world. And it's only going to grow. They're not going to relent power once they have it, my friends. So we need to be more vigilant than ever. And what we're seeing in Hong Kong is a good start. What we're seeing in places like Michigan with the militias is a good start, but it doesn't end there. And it's not about asking for permission. It's about giving yourself permission. Anyways, I appreciate everyone joining us. We will follow up on Hong Kong and what we're witnessing there and the takeover of places like Hong Kong and the rest of the world by China and the US and these other entities that are forming, while they look like enemies, they're creating a massive global entity, all by the script, all to enslave us and push us on our knees and make us dependent little puppets for them to do what they wish with. So anyway, make sure to hit that like button, share on social media. This video will be shadow banned. Only about 3% of our views on YouTube actually come from our subscribers on YouTube. The rest come from sharing on social media. Find us on BitChute, find us on Flote. Now, it's never been more important than now to get on those social media platforms. Also, join us, our new newsletter at www.iambanned.com. Very crucial. And also, pledge, GoFundMe, Patreon, subscribe, or anything helps. Cryptocurrency, our CoinTree account. You can send crypto in many different cryptocurrencies and send a message with it if you want to tip us in crypto. We appreciate anything you guys can do to help keep us up and running, because it's never been more important to fight back against the propaganda that we're being fed, because that propaganda is single-handedly pushing people into subservience and enslaving humanity. It's the fear, not the force. The force is minuscule. If everyone just stood up and didn't follow along the rules, they wouldn't be able to do anything about it. It's the fear. And they're spreading that fear via the media, and we need to fight back now. Appreciate everyone joining us. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change. Like what you see here, don't forget to check the links below. GoFundMe, Patreon, subscribe star. We really can't do it without you. We've been so insanely shadow banned, about 90% at this point, and 95% demonetized. As Susan Wojcicki, the CEO of YouTube, comes in and says that she is shutting down quote-unquote controversial content and cutting out the views on this controversial content by 70%. She's been bragging about it. We need your help more than ever in this battle for truth in information. You guys are what keeps us alive, so we really appreciate just even $1 a month makes a huge difference. If everyone could give just $1 a month, we wouldn't even have to worry about competing against the mainstream propaganda networks. You can also donate to our Bitcoin address on the screen for you to scan if you please, as well as in the comments and description. Liking and sharing makes a big difference as well, and finding us on alternative social media platforms like flote.app, that's FLOTE.app, makes a huge difference. We're at Josh Sigurdson as well as at Wham. Flote is replacing Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Tumblr, Reddit, and Patreon all in one with encrypted private messaging, and of course monetization on videos for creators, live streams with super chats in crypto, and most of all, no algorithm, because at the end of the day, it's all about reach, guys. This is all about actually reaching people with the message and waking up the public. You can also find us on Instagram, Twitter, Minds, BitChute, all sorts of different platforms. Try to follow us on as many things as possible, because very soon this channel will very likely just be completely deleted from YouTube, and you'll never see us again, and you'll be stuck with only the mainstream networks. Also, come on out and see us at Anarcho Vegas 2020 in Las Vegas, Nevada in July, where such speakers such as G. Edward Griffin and many others will be speaking. You could use promo code WHAM on your VIP tickets and save 10%, as well as buy extremely cheap tickets for just $20.20. You won't find a cheaper conference than this with such amazing names. Check anarchovegas.com for more information on that. We hope to see you out there. And anyway, I really appreciate all of you guys joining us. You make it possible for us to survive in this volatile, propagandized climate. Until next time, this is Josh Sigurdson signing out from World Alternative Media. Find the truth, be the change.
I'm sure you have already changed people's minds in your young age because you're involved, and I like that.